What's going on, everybody? Dave here, hidden off grid, and welcome back to another video. In this video, it's gonna be pretty random just because that's typically how my brain works. If you're not familiar, I'm pretty random. I'm pretty scatterbrained as well. Yeah, look at this, you know? It's like I'm trying to pick up women or something here, but the thing is I didn't want to do this button up because now I look like Urkel, but so I'm just going to kind of talk about, you know, life is green or on the other side, or the fence, or happiness, or just because it kind of, you know, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it really. You know, when, I think it was like 2011 or something like that, my dad, he emailed me one time and he's like, "It's been great watching you jump from rock to rock," you know, and it's like, what does he mean by that, you know? And it's like, you've always chased your dreams, and he's like, "I've done that all, you know, throughout my life too." And, you know, and is that something you can sustain? It's like, is that something you can just do the rest of your life, right? Chasing happiness is kind of something that comes to my mind, but when you get there, you know, are you happy that you got there? And you're just, okay, well, then you're just going to go on to the next thing, right? You know, I mean, the mindset, I guess, kind of goes like, you know, I don't know, when I get here, I'm going to be happy. When I do this, I'm going to be happy. I can't wait till I get here, and then I can be happy, right? That thinking is just wrong. It's not the right way to think, because when you get there, you're going to find out that you're not any more happy than you were prior to that. And then you're going to look for the next thing, right? And that's where the whole thing comes into play, where it's all about the journey. It's not the destination, right? So I try to live like that, but I don't want to, you know, I'm one of those people that like, oh, once I, you know, retire, because I'm going to retire next year, right, in 2022, and go hike the Appalachian Trail, I'm going to be happy, right? There's going to be so much change at that time. I don't know, you know, if I'm going to be happy. It's not that I'm even really chasing happiness, really. And I think people are you know, they're mistaken, I guess is the way to say it, that happiness that is a state that they should always feel, right? How many people feel sad 24/7, right? All the time, 365, right? Nobody feels sad all the time. Nobody says, I want to be sad, right? Like they always say I want to be happy, but they never say they want to be sad, right? So nobody wants to be sad, but you always hear people say, I want to be happy. You know, so it's like, it's just interesting that people say that. Happiness is not something that you should feel all the time. There's going to be, you know, bouts of happiness throughout your life, just like there's going to be bouts of sadness, right? So I think that it's funny that people think like that. And I mean, it's almost like a given that's how you should think. You don't think like that? You're not happy all the time? No, it's like, why aren't you happy? It's like, who's happy all the time? I think people need to get okay with just mediocre, in between, just okay. You're not happy, you're not sad, because that's most of life, at least in my opinion. The grass is greener on the other side. It's like, that's just a funny thing too, because you know, why can't you just stay on this side of the fence and water your own grass, right? These are just things that I've come up with over the last 5 years or something like that, just reflection wise. So I think a lot of it came into perspective when I watched the movie Into the Wild. I can't remember when I first watched that movie. It might have been like 2012 or 2013 possibly. Could have been later. I have to see when the movie came out, but that movie really opened my mind. Now, it's just a great movie, by the way, and I really love that actor. If you're not familiar, I think it was Chris McCandless, I think is the guy's real name. It's based on a true story. The guy, you know, kind of fell off the grid and then wanted to go to Alaska and just live out in the middle of nowhere, off the land, kind of, although he did bring rice with him. But along the way, he meets so many different characters, and just the charm and the personality that this guy had. Everybody was drawn to him. Everybody loved him. But yet he wanted to be in isolation, which is kind of interesting. And then when I watched that movie, I just, I really resonated with a lot of the things that he did, just about society and how he lived and wanted to live. And I wish I could just be half as much charming as he is, but ultimately he gets out to Alaska, and you got to see the movie, but he wrote in the book, in a journal there, like before he died, saying happiness not real unless shared. And that really opened my eyes. Like, it's just because I've always said I could live out in the middle of nowhere. I don't need people, right? It's not that I don't like people necessarily. It's just I don't need people, right? And you ever seen that TV show Alone, right? Where they go out and it's like living up in Victoria or something like that, up in Canada, Victoria Island. I don't know what it is. They've done it all over. I guess they've done it all over the globe, but. They send a bunch of people out there, like 10 or 15 people out there. They isolate them like 10 miles from each other, and they have to stay in that location, kind of. And the biggest issue that these people face is they miss their family. They miss their kids. They miss their wife. They can't stand the isolation. They can't stand being alone. That is probably what knocks out like 80% of those people. And I'm like, that's the easiest thing to deal with, in my opinion. It's like, I would have a problem with dealing with a headache. I have a problem with not getting enough salt, having a headache, freaking having diarrhea, not being able to wipe my freaking ass or something, It's like, that's what I would have the problem with. And these people can't deal with, missing their son's birthday, missing their wife's anniversary. Like, they just need people. It's like, I get it, like you miss your son's birthday, but the son realizes what you're doing out there is for them. Like, they're honestly out there to win the money for their family. So it's a little bit of a sacrifice. I get it. You can't get that time back. I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. Maybe I don't get it. But it's just funny that is what knocks out like 90% of the people. 80% of the people is just the isolation. They're complaining, they're crying. Oh, I just miss them. I want to talk to these people. Like, I can't stand it. I'm going. They go like crazy out there. And I've always heard people say people that live in isolation go crazy. Look at the Granby freaking Rampage, right? The guy that, it's all the isolation people, the Unabomber, and it's like, they're all lived in isolation, and they go crazy. So I guess I'm very close to being crazy. So I'm either a genius and I'm going crazy, or I'm just crazy in general. But I really highly recommend that you watch that movie, Into the Wild. Ultimately, he did die at the end, but it was still, I wouldn't call it a sad story. It was just, I've seen that movie, half a dozen times since then. And it just, that whole happiness not real unless shared was absolutely amazing thing for him to write and share. Because when I spent a month in Australia, traveling around Australia, and I traveled a lot around Australia, everything that I did there, I did. Now, granted, I went on tours and stuff, and there's people there, but I don't know these people, You might, rattle off little stories or talk to them. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from United States of America. Oh, we don't call it that. We just call it the States, It's like, I had no idea what to call it. I'm from America, I'm coming to America. People said, no, we just call it the States. So it was just interesting that, traveling around Australia for a month, I felt alone, right? I felt alone. I felt, I wouldn't call it depressed. I wanted to share those experiences with somebody. So being by yourself and experiencing these great things, Alice Rock, I hiked it to the top of that thing. I, skydived when I was there. What else did I do when I was there? I went on a bunch of tours and stuff, walked around beaches and snorkeled at the Great Barrier Reef. I did so much stuff there. A lot of driving in between, out in the middle of nowhere, out in the middle of outback, got stuck. But I didn't share it with anybody. So the happiness wasn't full. It wasn't fulfilling to me. I wanted to share that with somebody. Companionship is a real thing, I think. So, you know, it is what it is. Chasing happiness, ultimately, I always, ever since wanting, so ultimately, the movie Into the Wild, him sharing that, I guess happiness not real unless shared, really opened my eyes. And ever since then, I wanted to go out and see the bus that he lived in out in Alaska. And that was something I wanted to do. I just, have to wait till I retire. I'm not going to travel out there for 2 weeks. I'm going to make it like a longer thing. And I just wanted to go out there. I want to hike out there. Many people have died getting out there. And I think it was, last year? It might have been 2019. 2 people died. Actually, 1 person died. Fiance. I don't know. I think the girl died. So they just got married or they just got engaged or whatever. They wanted to go out there to see the bus and trying to cross the river. She got swept away and died. And ever since then, I think it was last year, they helicoptered the bus out of there. I was literally pissed when I found that out too, because I saw it on TV. It was on CNBC, and it's like they're carrying a bus with this like Chinook helicopter. I was upset because it just takes one person, to screw up, die, and they ruin it for everybody else that wanted to go out there. Now the bus is somewhere else, but to me that's just not the same thing. It's not the same place. Now it's the same river that he couldn't get across. And ultimately that, took his life too, because he had to stay out there and he had to eat stuff because he's out of food. And ultimately, I'm going to end this video because it's pretty random. It's getting pretty long, but I hope, stuff that I've been saying, because I'm so random with what I say. I'm looking forward to just retiring next year and starting to kind of fulfill some of the things that I want to fulfill. But in the back of my mind, I'm not going to, basically say, until I do this, I'm going to be happy. Once I retire, I'm going to be happy. It's going to be a whole nother world for me. It's going to be a whole nother can of worms I'm going to have to deal with, right? When I retire, there's going to be new things that I'm going to have to deal with, sadness and, happy or whatever. But I'm going to be living on my own terms. I'm just not one of those people that, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but let me know if you kind of resonate with stuff that I've said in this video. Leave a comment down below, I'd appreciate it. And anyways, please support me here, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.